is just what do you want to do first? So if you're planning on using this to send things out directly through the Christie's app, directly through this suite, then you'll need to upload your contacts. And you do that by clicking not on upload, but on clicking on contacts. What's nice about this system is that you don't have to do a lot of formatting ahead of time. So if you've got a list that you export from Crossroads or from your email or from Accelerate, then you can upload that list here. And it does field matching. It'll read the columns at the top. So you don't have to go through and do a lot of that manually. It'll do most of it for you, and then it'll give you a quick review and say, oh, these columns, I don't recognize what these things are, and you can just tell it to eliminate those, or you can rename them so that it makes sense to the system. But it's pretty straightforward, and if you're going to do emails directly from this system, then that's definitely a step that you need to complete.
Excuse me, Shalene.
Yes, Suzanne. Sure.
Is that import contacts or add a contact?
It's import. So if you click on import, it's going to ask you for your file, which you can just drag and drop here, or you can click and it'll allow you to go search. If you click to add a contact, then it's just one person at a time. And if you click to your other option, there was to add a group. Whoops, went too far back. And groups are just ways that you can break things apart, right? So if you had some people that you wanted, say from, well, nowadays you really wouldn't have an open house, right? But maybe they were Facebook contacts, maybe you do. So you could create a specific group, so you would just be going out to those people. And that might be, I know for us as a company, we use location. That's what our tags are in Velocity. So we're using locations to target people. But maybe you have things that you might want to pull together, like just your sellers. So maybe you want to go out to just a group of sellers, or maybe you've got high-end influencers that you want to go out to, letting them know when you've taken a new luxury listing. So that ties right into the next thing that we're going to talk about, and that's sending stuff, which is the funnest part, right? So to do that, you're going to click on library, and actually give me just 1 minute. Let me go be another agent. So let me do an admin task right now and just hop in here and let me log in as, let's see, who's with us that's toward the top of this list? Miss Suzanne, I'm going to be you today. Oh, can I accept the privacy policy on your behalf, Miss Suzanne?
Yeah, can't fight City Hall. By the way, you're coming in through nice and clear. This transmission to me is clearer than the one we just had. I don't know why.
I wonder if it has to do with the number of people. I'm not sure.
I think it has to do with the number of people, but if your voice is at a certain level and you don't drop it at the end. Does that make sense?
It does.
So deeper voices, when they drop their voice at the end, it comes through a little bit more muffled. I'm just saying what people say to one another, but they don't seem to say in the meeting. Understandably, I think it's not politically appropriate or whatever you want to call it.
Well, and as you see,
very, very well. Sorry?
And it's probably also because I have this big funky headset. So I've been working from home remotely for many years now. So I've learned the value. I've learned the value of a good headset. So, and don't touch my headset. Those are the rules in my house.
I wouldn't mind seeing your short list of what you think a good headset is.
Oh, sure. I can help you with that kind of stuff.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. So when you first sign in, if you haven't done this before, when it will ask you to accept their privacy policy, which is what I just did on behalf of Suzanne, and then it will take you automatically to your profile so that you can update anything that needs updating. Now, just so that you know, all of this stuff feeds directly through to Christie's from what we're using on our website. So whatever's on hdchristie.com is what should be here as well. So if you make changes and you give them to marketing, like say that you want to update, I know we've been doing a big project to update bios. So when we do our update, that is going to feed through and Christie's is going to get that same set of information. So you don't have to do things twice, and this isn't something that's new that you're going to need to come and maintain now. This is already in here. What you might want to do though is amend some things. So for instance, right now if I click on the Facebook link, notice there's nothing in there. So that's because there's nothing set up already for you as an agent. So all your social media links are going to be blank because you would only have the social media profile that's in there is only the one that's for the corporate, you know, HD Christie social media, and it wouldn't be on your individual login like this. So it's important that you just come through and review those and add them if you want to use them. Okay, if you don't want to use them and you're not planning to use it for this, then you don't need to trouble yourself with it. But if you do want to use them, it's important that you put them in and then save them. To get to this screen at some time, if you're not just coming through this way, I'm going to go ahead and just tell it to save the changes. We didn't make any, but we'll just save it so it's updated. To get to that screen at any time, just click on your name and then it'll either give you the option to log out or to go to your profile. Okay. And that's how you would get there to make any changes. Okay, now that I'm functioning as an agent and not an admin, let's go back to that library and talk about sending some things. So I think one of the things that I got feedback from you guys as agents that everybody wanted more information on was how to send out stuff for their own listings, how to do property cards. So first of all, remember that this system only works for the luxury listings that are exclusive, that are eligible for Christie's. So just in case you didn't know, in order for a listing to be here, it's got to be at 750 or above, and it has to be exclusive. And the contract and everything has to be signed. It has to be approved and displaying on our website before it will make it here. So if this is a brand new listing that you're just getting in the system and it's just been approved today, it's not going to show up on Christie's today. It'll show up on Christie's tomorrow. Okay, and it's not until it shows up here that you can do your marketing. So there could be a delay. All right, so let's look at how you do it. These tools that run down the left-hand side, your little, I think of it as a filter, right? Because it's really your searching tools. So you can click on and expand any of these. And what I like to do, because I think it's the most useful, is go into the tools menu, because that's asking you what you want to send out. That way you'll eliminate all the brochures and the postcards, which are print only items. If that's not what you're looking for, then you can just eliminate that. And what I'm really looking for is e-cards, so that it's something you're going to email out. And then you'll see the list adjusted automatically to only show e-cards. Next, I like to go into toppings and further filter that list by what we're trying to do. So right now, I think the just listed category is probably great for us. There's also open house. So let me just show you what those look like. You get one option under open house, and it's only got one photo, but it is really nice and it has a very classy look to it. And then also the just listed. And that's what we're going to focus on today, is the just listed. Really what you're looking at here is three separate layouts. The first one is for new price, so that's a little different. The just listed with the red border is one option, and then the same kind of similar layout but without the red border and a little bit different formatting to the text. And notice that they're showing this one particularly when you've got two agents. You can do two agents with any of these, but just the particular format of the picture and stuff, this one lends itself well to having more room taken up at the bottom of the page for both agents. And then this one, which is the one I kind of favor, that has the three images. I love images. I think I always want more images. So this is the one I'm going to click on. So to select it, or to get an idea if this is the one that you really want to work with, you can click on it. It's going to bring up this screen, and then you can click on preview. So we're going to take a minute to load the preview. Now, just so that you know, that little pop-up window that came up is just reminding you that things aren't the same as what they're really going to be because you're only in a preview. But this is what the basic layout of it looks like. And if you say, yes, this is the one for me, then you can just close that tab, go back, and then go ahead and click on Get Started. Now you need to give this a title. This title is personal to you, so nobody's going to see this title. This is not the same thing as the subject line. And Suzanne, this is going to show up in your inventory, in your templates. So it'll be living on in there, and you'll see it. If that bugs you, let me know and I'll go back and delete it for you. And then once I've got the name in that I'm going to use, I just click continue. For me personally, the very first thing I like to do is pick the listing that I'm going to be working with. So I would select choose over here on the right hand side. Now this system does not automatically give you only your listings. It gives you all the HG Christie listings that are found on Christie's. So you need to select your listing. So if you want to search, I believe you can search by our HG Christie listing number. Notice that's called the MLS number here. So if you wanted to search for your number that way, hopefully you have so many listings that searching is hard, right? That would be wonderful. Or you can break it down by city, by property type. I think, what is selected? I don't know what that is. But basically you're just trying to find a listing that's yours, that's the one that you want to promote. So I'm going to pick this one from Old Fort Bay. And you just click the box to the left, it puts a little check mark in it, and then click save. Now this particular card only allows for one listing. There are some things that allow for multiple listings, but I don't think they're set up as e-cards. So in that case, what you could do is use the PDF, and you could create a PDF and then send the PDF. You'll notice right now that it's telling us that it's loading and that this is going to take a minute, and it does. Like, leave the computer, get a sandwich kind of a minute. So while it's doing this, I think this would be a great time just to ask right now if anybody has ever used this system before. Is there anyone here who's used the system before, who has anything that they want to share about how it went for them or what they think about using these templates? Don't be shy.
No, I can only say I haven't used it per se, but I went through it the other day and it did seem reasonably logical to me. Now that may be because I'm the uninitiated, but it's fairly simple.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that this system is pretty straightforward.
Did you hear that, Shanae?
I think so, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I lost the screen for a little while, but it's come back.
Okay, and thanks, Albert. And you're breaking up a little, Suzanne, so I have a feeling that your internet's probably dipping right now. So, but yes, this system's pretty intuitive. So I think once you've been through it one time, it's pretty quick and you'll feel good about doing it. You saw the little warning message come up while Suzanne and I were talking there that was up at the top of the screen that's telling you there's an error. Really, I don't know why, but that comes up for me every time. And in speaking with Kate from Christie's, it comes up for her too. So oftentimes that error, you can just ignore it, and then you'll land on this screen where it brings up the little window saying you're done. And it's warning you that all the images here are low resolution because they're being pulled off the internet. And remember, Kate talked about this in the training that she did with us too. That's okay. Low-res images are fine for going out on e-cards. If they were good enough for us to put on our website and we accepted them, they'll be good enough for you to do e-cards with. So they pretty much come across exactly the same. So if it looks good on the website, it's going to look good going out in the email too, and that'll be fine. Where this would not work though is if you were doing something with the PDF and creating something that you were going to print out. So print files, you would want to take the time to upload your original images that are at a much higher resolution. So if you get to that point and you have any questions about how to do that kind of stuff, feel free to reach out to me, or maybe even better, if you're planning something like that, you might want to reach out to marketing. They may already have something in place that they're able to help you with that too, because they do a lot of this stuff as well. All right, so once you're here, you can go ahead and just say okay to that low res warning. And now it's pulled in your property with the images and the text. Now notice a couple of things. One of them, let's say that I don't like these images. They're the first ones that are on the listing, but there's no interior shots. All you have to do to change that is click on the image itself, and then you'll get this little window that opens and you can scroll through. Okay, I like that one. And just click to select it and you'll see it automatically pops it in. This confused me for just a minute because I kept trying to find a place to save, but you don't need to. Notice it's just saving automatically. That one took me aback the first time I used the system, so I just point that out. And then here, same thing. Maybe I don't want this picture, so I'll just scroll through until I find one that I like and then click away. And you could edit the main picture as well if you wanted to. Okay, those things are all editable. Notice that I'm getting a warning right here in this field. I would assume it's because it wants me to review it. So I would just make a quick change. And as soon as it's done saving, boom, that little exclamation point turns to green. With this system, you do need to take that little breath, because once you've clicked the change, it does take a second for that save to complete. So don't panic when you came out of it and it's still showing you that there's an error that it's not ready to send. That's okay, because it's still saving. So just look up in the corner and see that it's still saving. One thing that this system does do is it does pull your entire description, which is handy, but at the same time probably way too large for most typical mailers. So in order to edit this down, you just click in here and now it becomes editable. And then in this case, I would just say I would review this obviously really carefully and take out what was not necessary and kind of hone it down and rewrite it to be the text that I wanted to appear in the mailer. In general, people don't like to scroll down in the mailers too far in the emails. So if you have a lot of text before you get to your name and image, people may have already left before they see you on there. Especially when they're reading something that they feel like is kind of promotional or advertising material, they may only scroll down basically what's worth about like 2 screens. So you really want to be careful with how long your descriptions are, because like I said, it will pull the whole thing. So be sure to edit those down. And then you just click outside of that editing box. And then you can confirm that your photo and your contact information is good. If it's not good, you would edit that in your profile. And also, if it's not good, you might want to let marketing know that, because that could indicate that there's something going on. You know, it could indicate that your data is not getting through or that there's an error. In this case, we have opted, I believe, to not have the agent's mobile phones pulled in automatically. I think you can add them, or I think maybe that's Christie's rule, is that they don't pull them in automatically. So you can add them in your profile. So if Miss Suzanne wanted her mobile phone or her phone to show up in here, then before creating the brochure, she would edit that profile by hovering over a name like we did in the beginning. This is also when you can modify from a single agent to a co-agent or double agent. Something to keep in mind if you're doing the double agent. And I don't know, John and Charlotte, if you guys ever do stuff like this, but the second agent, like the first agent is in there as a default agent, right? It's you, you're signed in, it knows you, it pulls it in. The second agent is essentially just photo material and text material. So it doesn't give you the opportunity to like go out and search for our list of agents and pull them in. What you're really doing is you're just getting your other agent's photo and adding the photo. See, I'd just be looking for the photo that I've got in there that I'd already uploaded. And then for the information, I would just be modifying the information. Okay, just changing the text. And saving it.
Sorry, Shalene, where would you upload your second agent's picture?
In the very beginning, I don't think I can move this window. I'll show you that because it's right behind the window that I'm on right now. It's in a box called Upload. You can almost see the link right here above the window that's open where it says Upload. That's where you can upload any photo files. So what you'd probably want to do, or what I would suggest doing, is you want the two photos to kind of be matching, right? So you could just save the other person's photo either from off of our website or from this website, and then you could upload that photo, and then from here you could access that already uploaded photo. Once you upload it, it stays in your uploaded essentially library, so it'll always be in there. So if you're doing that and maybe you have more than one listing and you want to do it again, or maybe you're going to create a new flyer for the same property or something, those images will stay in there, but you will have to retype all the contact information each time.
Okay, great, thanks.
Sure. Okay, so I'm just going to remove that co-agent for now. And then the next thing that you do is click to preview. This is an important step because it's going to render the way that it would in the email. So you're looking at the whole layout. Okay. Ooh, it didn't catch my removal of the second agent there. Yeah, I bet it would if we did it now. Okay, once you're at this point, before we move forward, does anybody have a question? Okay, once you're here, you have options. You can choose to send it an email, and that's what we were talking about in the very beginning, where you would have your contacts and they would be added in here. You'd upload them, and so from here you could just select your contact list and then send it out. It's super straightforward. There's not much more to it than that. You just click the contact list and then you say, yes, I want this to go, and it goes out. If you've created different groups, you can select the groups. I recommend that you do use groups. It makes life a lot easier. Even if you just have one group that you start with that's like your everybody contact, name it that. You know, my everybody group or all my contacts or something like that, so that you know what is what. Because later on there may be a time when you do want to make a small subset that it's going to go out to. I actually know an agent who uses these and takes them to listing presentations, which is kind of an interesting idea. But they give an example of saying, here's what I could do for your house. Like they snap a quick picture from the outside, make a quick one of these and print it out as a PDF, and then take it with them and say, this is the kind of thing I'll be sending out in email, which is sort of cool. But in addition to sending an email, one of the things that I think makes this system really cool is that you can automatically do all the social media stuff. So if you want to just include a link or place it someplace on, you know, like a different website or anything like that, then you can use the link option here. Notice that it tells me once I go through with this, I won't be able to edit my document anymore. So it's essentially a final save. So once I've committed to either doing the mailing or sending a link, then my document's not editable anymore. Okay, I'm just going to cancel that for right now. But you could do Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, any of those. You can go direct from here. All right, so let's go back and look at that. I'm just going to close this. And the upload is right here. So if you wanted to upload something, an image that you had stored, this is the place that you would do it. You could also do that for listings too. So if you have a listing that is not on Christie's, you can't use the Christie's branding stuff, but they do have some other stuff that you can use that's called non-branded templates. And you have to take off some of these other search terms that I had on there. These are just generic templates. They're nice in the way that they're formatted. They have a really good look about them. Here's a just listed, and it's non-branded. But remember, it's not going to pull anything in for you. So you're going to have to load in all your images, and you're going to have to type in all your text. I mean, you could copy and paste, but that's how you would create them if they're not on Christie's website. And then notice the Christie's branding isn't on them either. Like if we look at it, yeah, to get a little close-up view. So like HD Christie logo would be on here, but the Christie's International wouldn't be on there. Does anybody have any questions about sending a listing card? Because we're going to move on and talk about other stuff next. So is there any part of that that you'd like to review or look at again? Okay. All right, then the next thing that we're going to look at is how you would send one of their e-cards. So I think these are really cool. If you go under topics and do keep in touch, it'll bring these up. And it normally, I've found, typically does the same kind of thing where it puts whatever holidays were most recent right up at the top. And then the next line down is their most recent publications that you can look at. So they had their architectural design issue, which just went out. Let's look at the preview of that so you can see it a little bit closer. And you can tell right down here at the bottom when this was published. So you can see, okay, it's been within the last month. That way, you know how recent it is that you're sending it out. And you would use these very much the same. The only difference with these is that you're not really adding any content to them. They're pretty much exactly the way that they are. They're just going out from you. So they're you sharing these kind of things with your customers, as opposed to you featuring any of your own kind of listings or anything like that. These are kind of preset. They had this Andy Warhol one that went out recently that's kind of nice because it talks about that we're, you know, in unusual times, but better times are coming. They do have something about COVID-19, but it's, well, I'll show you what it's like. It's more about how to keep your home safe, 5 steps for how to keep your home safe while you're doing showings. So if we get to that point where you are doing showings, this is something that you could send to your sellers, your owners, but we're not really there exactly yet, so maybe not quite ready. But they have lots of things to choose from, and you can go through and just look at the titles of them, open them up and look at the preview versions and see what you think works for you. So these are a great way for you to utilize the things that Christie's makes and puts together and send them out to the people on your contact list, really without having to do much of any effort. Once your contact list is in here, then you can just start sending stuff to them that's Christie's branded. And
so, sorry, so this is something that doesn't go out to HG Christie, the whole list? So we can send it, like you say, to our clients on our own. It hasn't already been sent to our clients by HG Christie?
that is correct. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We don't automatically just send any of these publications. Now, Christie's will. So if you have someone who is a client who's gone onto the Christie's website and registered to get these, they'll get them from Christie's. But to be honest, there's not a lot of people who are probably doing that at this point. Some of them may, though. But I think in that case, it would probably be okay that they get it from Christie's and then they get it from you. Excuse me.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. There's some other things here that I think are kind of nice too. The What's New just puts any of their newest publications up at the top. And that leads us right into talking about the next thing. And I know Kate had mentioned this, and it's about the listing presentation. So this is a specially formatted packet that you take with you to a listing to try to get that contract signed, to try to get people to sign up with you. So it's really in depth and it's great. I've read through it. It's fabulous. What I highly recommend that you do is it comes in 3 parts. So it's part 1, part 2, and then the FAQs. Open up the fact document and then you'll click on the little download arrow here to download the file so that you can go through it. It's just a couple of pages. It's not too long, but it talks about how each of these components work. And there is a little bit of tweaking that you might want to do. And there's some, they have some really good tips in there too. So I encourage you to review that. And then once you've got it done, then you can open up the listing presentation and go ahead and get started and build it. I would not do that building part without having read those FAQs. It is kind of important and it does take a while, so I won't go through it all in detail. You're using the same steps though that we just used. You're not having to really develop any like brand new skills that you won't understand what to do or anything like that. But it does take a little bit more time, energy, and effort to get these completed. But I would say that it's probably well worth it. These are also targeted at being printed out. So this is something that's not necessarily formatted for electronic viewing. Now, if you had a nice big tablet, or if you were going to be meeting with people in an office setting where you have a nice big computer screen, then you could probably share these and it would be nice. But they really are kind of strategically put together with the idea that you're going to print this and take it with you. Ideally, you're going to have some sort of a listing packet that you're putting together that you're going out to someone with, and this is part of that listing packet. So, and it's a beautiful piece. So this is kind of page 1, and you can see it's really focused on just kind of an introduction. And then let's look at page 2. And it's missing a lot of details, but this gives you an opportunity for another image. And you'll find something very similar in H.G. Christie's document library under sales listings, I think, is there's the listing presentation is in there. And it is very similar to this. This is kind of what inspired what's in the Crossroads library. And we've pulled in a lot of the information about statistics and market performance and all that kind of stuff. So I encourage you to think about maybe using something like this in combination with the information that you get from the document that's available in Crossroads, and maybe then even pulling in more specific information about the particular area or setting or neighborhood that the listing you're trying to target is in. This is really set up for that phenomenal listing. So this is for when you're probably a little more work and effort than for just kind of your everyday run of the mill. I mean, happy to have, but just kind of an average listing. This is really targeted more at going after that luxury market, the super high end, and being really competitive and leveraging the power of Christie's International Real Estate in order to get that listing. And because it is co-branded, I think it helps to show that from the whole process that we're integrated with Christie's. So I think that's a really useful piece. Does anybody have any questions? All right, you guys. Well, this is pretty straightforward. I think you'll find it pretty useful. I think the hardest, which is not really hard, but time consuming part is just getting your contacts loaded. So if you have any questions about anything within the system, or if you tried to do something and it didn't work, then feel free to shoot me an email and I'll try to hop in and help you get it sorted as best I can. And I hope you take advantage of it. I think it's a cool way to do things. I also really like their holiday cards. I just like the look and feel of them. They tend to have some pretty modern images. Like I love the ones they put out for Easter. They looked really nice. So I noticed they don't have anything for Mother's Day yet. I'm kind of waiting to see if they'll come out with something, but we haven't seen it appear yet, and it's only 11 days away, so, or 12 days away, so it's getting pretty close. But yeah, this is a great place to come for that kind of stuff too. All right, well, the last thing I'll leave you with then before we go today is a question that I've had several agents ask, and it's about, well, how is this different from Velocity? Why would I want to use this versus that? How do these two merge together? And the answer to that is it's really actually quite simple. Velocity is a customer relationship management tool, so it does a lot of different things. One of the things that it does is help you to do some marketing, but it does a lot of other things. It's tracking the leads, it's assigning them, it's showing where people spend their time. It used to be logging our activity history, and hopefully very soon it will again once we get the green light from Google. We're still waiting for that. But once that's done, then your email activities will be loaded again. And so it allows you to create reminders and have future events and all that kind of stuff, so that like you're remembering people on their 1-year purchase anniversary and all kinds of different things that are helping you kind of follow your clients through time. So all of these activities are recorded against a client and against that lead, and you can go in and look at that lead and see, oh yes, look at all these things I've sent them, and did they open them? It also has those property search things where you can put in the parameters. I think they're called listing alerts. So you can put in the parameters of what they're searching for, and it will automatically send them listings, but they look like they're coming directly in a personal email from you. So these things are all super valuable tools. And what Christie's does is really just an add-on to that. It's just one extra step that you can take that really is targeted just at making the kind of connection and promoting your stuff. It really is just the marketing side. It doesn't do any of the other tracking. There's no place for you to go in and view details about your contacts or anything like that. It's pretty much just a name and an email address, and they're on a mailing list. So this is really targeted at that kind of mailing interaction directly to clients. And then, like I said, also for helping you reach out on social media. Their social media posts are very nicely done. And this particular program seems to work pretty well on the tests that I've done myself personally to go out to Facebook, where it looks nice when it gets out there. And so it's a great way to reach out to social media too. Well, I hope that answers everybody's questions and that you feel lots more comfortable and confident in getting into your Christie's account and using it and taking advantage of that stuff that's available. Anybody have